Hello everyone. This is Suri and I'm here with Sank and today we have come back again with a fantastic movie recommendation. We are so excited for this one because first of all, this is a comedy. It is very well written. It was way ahead of its time. And it's called My Cousin Vinny. And there are some little things in it that are very, I don't know, very familiar, I guess, to anyone who grew up watching I guess slapstick comedy in terms of like take for example Dumb and Dumber, right? Like everything was very
Mhm.
like in your face. It was there for you to like look at this. This is funny. You have to laugh. Whereas my cousin
Proper
Vinny,
stance, proper
yes,
slapstick.
yes, and what I thought was my cousin Vinny was like we will take you on the path of it, and if you don't laugh, then that is your problem.
Yes, the jokes are coming. Jokes are literally coming at like five seconds.
Yeah.
Five jokes every second.
Yes. So,
Mm.
Sank, you watched the movie recently.
Yes. So I'm gonna be the two perspectives today. One who's like seen this movie what how many times?
Like at least 20 odd times because it
Yeah.
always makes me laugh.
Yes. So that's you. And I have only recently seen this movie. So we're gonna get two different angles. But we both equally love it. That's why
But
we do it.
but
So
you already knew one thing more than I did about this, which is the actress's name, who is my favorite character in the movie.
no, Marisa Tomei. So I can't believe like so did you watch her did you watch My Cousin Vinny before Spider-Man?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I discovered her. I knew that she had won an Oscar for this, and she was in that the wrestler movie also, right? The one that Darren Aronofsky made. So I knew that Marisa Tomei is an actress, but I never knew. And I watched Spider-Man, so but I never knew she was so good, and I did not know that she had so much reach. So I actually there are two actors. I feel like I've rediscovered them. One is Marisa Tomei, and one is Joe Pesci. That we'll be talking
Yes.
about.
Joe Pesci. And you know how I found this movie? So I had a crush on the characters of Karate Kid, no? And the hero.
Ralph Macchio.
So I really liked him. So then I was craving to see him more, and that's how I found my cousin Vinny. And
But
then
then you must be disappointed that he didn't have much of
yeah,
it.
I
Like
I
he
was
had a very small.
I was, which is why I stopped watching it. Like I started watching it, and so he was immediately like going to go to jail, and wasn't like dreamy and cutesy. So I stopped watching it, and then my friend forced me to watch it at his place, maybe 2 years from that, and I felt like 2 years I could have been rewatching this movie like on loop, and I did do it because I was hung up on something else. What a great film! Just
Yeah, yeah.
oh
I so my reservations for not. I knew that this movie is a cult classic. My reservations for not like I had reservations why I didn't watch this movie was because I thought like it is something from like the early 90s and it's
no,
not it is a comedy but it's comedies around that time like the cult classics of that time are what Home Alone and some Tom Hanks movie Big and all those things. So
yeah,
I did not I thought like this movie would not be able to match that. But I can say this after watching that it holds up. It's what 20, 30, 32 years since this movie has come out, and every joke I laughed. I know I'm not exaggerating. I laughed at every single thing that they aimed at, like
yes,
the whole him not able to sleep trope, his girlfriend having problems, him having problems in his life, that whole trope about the judge not finding out who he actually is.
yeah.
Everything I was in on. And I don't know how they did it, but yeah, it holds up. It holds up.
It was actually one of those movies. So this is why I now understand. So, San, you have this rule of not watching the trailer of a movie. If you hear
Mhm.
it's a good movie, you go out of the way to avoid the trailer, avoid spoilers, avoid discussion boards, everything. So I avoid the discussion boards, but I can't avoid the trailer. I mean, not really, not anymore. And
That depends on like
sorry, what?
that actually depends on people's attention spans. Like TikTok generation, guys.
I see. Okay. Uh, the but what I think is I have come a long way because I used to get very scared that the movie would have a sad ending, so I would read stuff on Wikipedia before I would like watch the movie. And now, on the other side of things, I avoid the only thing I do avoid now is, of course, looking up the ending and the trailer. And one thing that I will say is, if any of you are like me and you like to watch the trailer, in advance, um, don't watch it because the trailer does not do any justice or actually in any way explain what the movie is actually about. And I checked the trailers and I went, oh my gosh, this must have been like so important. And so, because Ralph Macchio is like, going to be like this, this different role,
They
and
banked in on his popularity.
they knew exactly what they were doing. It's like how they got Pete Davidson for Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Yes, that
They knew exactly what they were doing because he was in
again
all of
spoilers.
Celebrity Glow. But yeah, spoilers, guys. But if you've not watched Bodies, 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 another great horror comedy sitch. Um, I
Yes,
have
horror
spoiled
comedy for
Bodies,
sure.
Bodies in some way, I guess, but not really.
No, no, no. I think what you spoiled is how everything gets triggered.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, coming back to My Cousin Vinny, it's a legal comedy drama, and it actually is. It's interesting because generally when something happens to a person who can't afford like good lawyers, or has to rely on the system to give them a lawyer, this is generally what happens when you think about it. Like like, oh, that cousin of that cousin of that neighbor who sold us, in wedding invites that one time, like maybe he is a lawyer or he has a law degree or something. That's kind of what happens where these boys. One of them is Ralph Macchio, and the other guy, I forget his name, but I have seen him in a lot of things. I I don't know how we're spoiling it at this point of time, but guys, of course, like spoiler alert for like a lot of the scenes. But I think there is something amazing about the way they have set up this universe because they're just showing, like two college boys or about to be college boys just driving through, uh, like these gorgeous views, and then they start seeing
Mhm.
stuff like dirt sold for free, and and best apples in town right next to it, and it's just this little town, where they are passing by, and they stop by a place, and they pick up some food, and you see these very genuine conversations that happen where someone is like, oh, I don't know this brand, and then the friend goes, well, but that is like cheaper by a whole dollar, so get that. And it's like, but it's a generic brand, I don't trust it. It's like, so what? It's Who cares if it is a generic brand? It's still food. And that's conversations that I have had with my friends, when I was first time responsible for like my own expenses and my own groceries. Like, like, do I really need like the good brand, or can I just, skimp on stuff? And it's very cute. The opening scene is very adorable. I really like that.
Mhm.
The little details that they throw, because you don't expect the movie to be about that
Yeah,
at all.
I wasn't expecting anything like that because when I so before watching it, I knew that this is a movie, and if it's Joe Pesci and Marisa Tomei, obviously they are playing some Italian American stereotype.
Yeah.
So I thought in my mind it might be like some family comedy about these people getting getting together, because that is what we've seen Italian Americans do, like in Sopranos and Goodfellas and all this. So for me it was like a family comedy, and Ralph Macchio was also there. Ralph Macchio is also Italian American,
Yeah. Yeah.
something of that sort.
Or at least he's playing one, because the way he talks in it has like that bit of that accent,
Mm-hmm.
the and the I don't know what the English word for it is, but the leheja, the the
So
like
I don't know,
when you
maybe
behave
the
a certain
vibe,
way, like the
the
vibe.
vibe of a person.
I don't know, vibe is such a generic word. I feel like leheja is when you can tell without the person actually having the accent of where they are from. So it's not like we've heard them talk in an accent, but it's
Mhm.
certain things that they do that gives them away,
Mhm.
something like that. And like when people from Mumbai say "Hena," yeah, no, like
Mhm.
that's a like if you end your word with no, it's a very Mumbai thing to do. But you don't
Yeah.
have to have a particular accent. You don't have to. You probably like there are two words in Hindi, right? There's aloo and batata, and they say that's a
Yeah.
very dead giveaway of when a person's from Mumbai. If they say batata instead of aloo, if they say uh, what's the other word for onion? I know it's only
Kanda and pyaz. You
Pyaz, pyaz. So there are two words for in Hindi, I guess, for onion. And if you're from Bombay or Mumbai, you end up saying kanda and not pyaz. And pyaz is like
know.
considered, the I don't know, the purer way of saying onion or whatever. But that's how you can. Those are the giveaways. Like it's not the accent or the pronunciation or the style. It's like this vocabulary or this particular thing a person does. Like they're from that city, and they've captured that immediately. Like when I've heard the stereotype where when Italian Americans talk, they when they want to emphasize something, they say it in the form of a question, but if you're not familiar with that, it sounds like a statement.
Mhm.
So basically these
Uh,
two guys, sorry, go ahead.
if you ask me about Italian American, even though she's not, she's an Australian, but Margot Robbie in Wolf of Wall Street, you're a father now, Jordan. You're a father now.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah. And I think the part of the movie which is interesting is that they do something kind of dumb that is,
Mhm.
I mean, they're kids, so they are behaving like kids. So they accidentally end up taking something that they don't pay for, and they get in the car and they're driving away, and then one of them realizes, oh my gosh, like I didn't pay for this. And they see the police, like, I think, chasing them down the street, and they presume it's about that. So the part which I love is when they're questioning them, they basically say, so you admit to doing this. It's like, yeah, but it was a mistake. I didn't mean to. And the police officers, they're getting confused. And you see the cousin or whatever, the friend in the other room being interrogated the same way. It's like, so did you guys plan this? Was he helping you? Are you an accessory to his crime? And he's like, are you serious? Like, it's such a small thing. Like, why are you making such a big deal out of this? That's why I think when someone, like, this is actually very good advice. When someone is pulling you over for something, you have to ask why. Like, because none of them are. They just presume it's because they stole a can of beans. And the whole thing then gets revealed where then one of the police officers goes, so you admit to murdering someone. And the guy, and this is how you can tell, like certain stereotypes that play in. And he goes, I murdered a person, and it sounds like he's giving a
Mm.
statement. It's like me, I murdered a person. Like
This
it's
is where you
not
know,
convincing.
like in no reality this would happen, but this is where like the movie sets the tone. This is where the movie gives you an idea, like this is what we're going to be like for the next 2 hours.
Yeah,
So don't use your brain, but not that much.
but not that much. Like, have a good time, but the way they have used the stereotypes is not like your typical Italian American stereotypes. They're like
Mhm.
certain things which are just so subtle and so out there. You have to just really enjoy yourself while you're watching it. And the whole movie is like the guy calls up his mom and he goes, oh, like, I need a lawyer. I don't have money. I don't know what to do. And the mom is like, yeah, we have a cousin. And that's literally the setup of the movie. Like, my cousin Vinny will, help us and he'll fight our case for us. And Vinny is as flamboyant.
Wait. I just wanted to mention one thing. Do you know which movie copied this part where they get mistook for a murder? They mistake. Uh, do you know which movie did that? Uh, there's something about Mary. Do you know that part where he goes to a state where hitchhiking is illegal. Okay, so he gets into someone's car, and then they find out that he's like a child murderer or a murderer or something, and he's caught for it. And again, he doesn't know what he's getting caught for. He thinks that it's hitchhiking. So the police are asking him, "Why did you do it? So did you do it?" He's like, "Fine, I confess, I did. I did it." Like, why did you do it? Boredom, maybe. In his mind, it's hitchhiking.
Hitchhiking, and it's a lack of remorse that's getting the guy who's interrogating. It's like, oh my God, how is this person confessing and like has no remorse? And I think that's what they are setting up the movie in My Cousin Vinny as well. It's like, why would
Uh,
they casually admit to this? Like, why would they not put up a fight? Like, think about it. Like, that's what
mm.
I loved about the setup, and that's why
Yeah,
the actors are
that's
so well.
that was the vibe of 90s comedy, right? Like you didn't have to explain a lot of things.
No.
You could just go with the flow. And they did not, it's like leave your brains at home, but they also didn't take the audience for granted.
Oh,
They expected you to be smart enough, like to go with the flow, saying that, we know it's silly, but we know that but we know that you're watching a comedy.
yeah.
So it's fine for you guys.
Yeah.
That was a vibe of 90s comedy. And I think like My Cousin Vinny is the
And
best example.
and they've also like covered those little nuances, like you said in the beginning, right? Like, for example, a lawyer cannot practice in any state in US. He has to have a state bar license of a particular state to practice in that state. So if
Hmm.
Vinny's coming from New York, we're presuming somewhere near New York or in New York, then he has to have the state bar license of the place that he's fighting the case in. And because he doesn't have that, the judge gives him a special permission till he checks his credentials. And Vinny, being Vinny, took what, 10 years or 6 years to crack the bar exam? How was it?
Something like
A long time. And when he says, like, so how long have you been practicing? It's like, you would be my first murder case. It's like, so you've done other cases? This is my first time, like, in court. So I've been practicing for 2 weeks. And this case is important to all of them because, Vinny has to make his mark in the legal world. The cousins obviously have to be, absolved of the accusation of this crime. And then his girlfriend, who is perfect in this movie, she wants to get married, and he's not going to marry her till he has his first winning case, his first successful case. So this case is important to everybody. And uh, I just love that they have shown how everybody but Winnie is trying to help Winnie, and Winnie is doing things that is constantly getting himself into trouble.
yeah,
Like the part where
nothing's going right for him.
no, nothing's going right for him. And there's this running joke, like you said, like where he every time he goes somewhere, he cannot sleep. So there's
Hmm.
a hotel where they like stay till they can solve the case or whatever. Where he's sleeping, and and he hears like this rumbling of the train, and then he asks the next day, it's like, oh my gosh, like why didn't you tell me that there's such a loud train over here? And it's like it's very odd. They never go by at 4 a.m. in the morning. That's not their thing. So it's like okay, so they won't go by 4 a.m. tomorrow. It's like, no, they won't, sir. It's like, okay, fine. And then next day it happens again. And then it's like, it happened.
Vibrates
It,
everything in this room or something,
it
right?
literally shakes a glass off the desk. And you're like, oh my God, like what? And you basically can see his disdain because he is reading the law book while fighting the case. And
Yeah.
he's so unprepared for this. Like he doesn't know what he's doing. So he needs all the rest he can get. It's like, you said that this happens only once in a while. It's like, yeah, like they generally go by 4:30 instead of 4 a.m. So yeah, this probably changes. So there was no way he was getting sleep. And you see him, changing like hotel room to hotel room, and something or the other happens. Either there's a hen or a cock somewhere that's like crowing in the morning, or there is the trains, or there is the actual blowhorn, like the not blowhorn, the foghorn that blows in the middle of the night. There's something or
Mhm.
the else or the
At
other.
some point, they leave their lodge or something and they sleep in a car, right? Oh,
Yes.
what was that? Like, why?
The judge of the one who is defending the murdered shopkeeper, the judge,
Mm.
I'm saying, the lawyer who's defending the murdered shopkeeper, he offers Vinny his cabin in the woods to sleep perfectly.
Huh. And
And
why weren't they able to?
because there was, I think, some animal that was howling in the middle of the night, so they sleep in the car. Oh, and it is amazing. And literally, you see him begging to like get thrown into jail so he can sleep over.
Yeah.
You will be in contempt of court, and I will throw you
No.
in jail.
His girlfriend comes. No, don't give any money today.
Don't bail me out. Oh, why? I'm going to sleep in prison. I love, I love that
Just gonna
they.
be giggling the whole episode.
Sorry,
We're just gonna be giggling the whole episode.
because it's like fun giggle time. That's all
I
it is.
know.
It,
Yes.
and I mean, of course, the acting is great, and the way they pull it off
Mm.
is great. Even the judge who played like this very stern, uh, man, or like he says, like just because it's a small town, I don't want you not taking this case seriously because there's some big shot from New York, and Vinny's like, who, and he has no idea that Vinny's not a big shot. What a great film!
Mhm.
Just
So again, we're talking about rediscovering these two actors, right? Like I at least did. Like for me, Joe Pesci was either of the two. One, as a kid, I discovered him in the Home Alone movies, and then I
yes,
grew up and I rediscovered him in the Scorsese movies, where he's playing the complete opposite of a Home Alone gangster. Right? He's this know-it-all,
yeah,
the father of every group. Everybody's scared of him.
yeah,
Any Scorsese movie you pick, and like even Robert De Niro, when he's in a scene with Joe Pesci, he is serving in that scene. Like Joe Pesci eats actors up,
yes,
and in this, I found a completely new version of Joe Pesci. I did not know that he could be this way. That he could play someone like this who's like so vulnerable and who hasn't figured shit out in his life
yeah.
yet.
He's not all
I've never seen
powerful.
Joe Pesci like this.
Yeah. So Joe Pesci, you're right. He does play a know-it-all, and in this, he literally knows nothing. He is the Jon Snow of the law. And
Yeah,
my
he's
favorite,
learning it.
oh, he's learning it. And my favorite part is where he tells his girlfriend, "Oh, I'm going to go and bond with him and like try to get all the files that he has about this, and I'm going to
Yeah,
out, and I'm going to charm my way into his information." And they're just in the hunting, I think they're in the car and they are like
and she
headed there.
warns him right before. Like she tells him also, like, or was it afterwards?
After, yeah, after.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah, you
so
told
he's in the car with this other lawyer, and he goes, "I was wondering if I could, just have the files about the case." And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And he calls up the assistant and he's like, "Can you send copies over to, Vinny?" And it's like, "Yeah, yeah, okay." And he like comes back so proud because
yeah.
I charmed her. Wait, did I tell you honey I would? And like she's just sitting over there and going, "He's required to by the law." She's just finished the book reading, something that he should have done in the first place. And you just get to see that concept of beginner's luck. I
Mhm.
think that plays a very important role in this because it's treating it like somewhat of a game. You get to see that every time he's about to do something stupid, his fiance stops it from happening. And that's kind of like his luck working out in his favor, that every time he's about to like, proclaim something dumb, he like the leather jacket that he wears to court. Like, when the judge says that, you will dress professionally, the next time. And then the next time he shows up in the same thing and the judge goes, "Why are you not wearing a suit?" And he's like, "You were serious about it?" Like the way, like the realization of like, really, I cannot dress the way I like it to look like you guys. And the the judge also, you may think he's very like intolerant and very strict and stuff like that, but considering what has happened, because it's a small town and everybody's in on the case in some way, the judge is actually extremely lenient, and that's why you don't
Hmm.
really hate anyone in the movie. Like, I love how they've written that story.
Yes. There
You
are
know,
no villains in this movie except for
no,
the murderer, obviously.
yes, the murderer obviously, and we don't know
Yeah,
who
yeah,
the
we
murderer
don't
is.
see him.
We never see them. We don't know who
Yeah.
the murderer is.
But yeah,
So
this is a world where like there are no bad guys.
there
Everybody,
are no.
but there are still things that are going wrong with Winnie and it.
Yes, yes. There is, I think, the only villain is whoever gets in the way of Vinny's sleep. I don't think there is any other villain
Hmm.
other than that. And, when you see like the way the judge reacts also to Vinny,
Or like,
hmm,
or like for Winnie, everyone else is the villain.
yes, everyone else is
Everyone is.
villain, including his fiance.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
fiance
And
is
he
supposed to
snaps
kind of,
at her. That we will get to that later.
she has looked and talked like she has a grip on our hearts, man, because the
You
way
know?
she has pulled it off, especially in that one piece jumpsuit kind of thing that she wore.
Hmm.
And she's like, standing over there, like telling, said, my clock is ticking, Vinny, and you said that. And he like snaps at her. It's like, really? Am I supposed to learn the law and fight this case at the same time and think about marrying you and your damn clock? And then, like, she goes back to him and said, I guess it was the wrong time to bring it up. And she's like,
She is so adorable in this
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
So when she won, all the other nominated actresses, like they were like, she was the only American nominated that year. All the others were like these esteemed British actresses with very
Oh,
Oscar baity movies, and she was the only one who was like from this slapstick movie, right? She so when she was giving the acceptance speech, like she's exactly like her actual character. When you see her, you feel like that, like she's this dumb, ditzy kind of girl. But then you again like in the movie, like you get to know that she's got more to her. Maybe she knows more about the law than even Winnie, or she's more intelligent than
yeah,
even Winnie.
yeah. And you're right. That's her character reveal, that she seems like a person who's just there along for the ride, but she
Ah,
really wants him to win this case. So she
yeah.
genuinely wants that to happen for him. And you see Winnie, then taking a, page from her book and then actually start reading the book and trying to figure out the loopholes and stuff like that. Like when he goes and he does like his homework. So all the witnesses, quote unquote, have seen the boys drive away from the gas station where the murder happens. He goes to their homes and he starts like, you just see scenes of him taking pictures and talking to them and like getting to know them better. Like you don't see him accusing them or yelling at them or anything. You just see him like, just come over for a casual visit and just have a chat with them. And then he basically, um, in court, he proves one of the witnesses can't see very far. And it's the way he does it. Like he'd say, can you hold this up, the side of the measuring tape? And then he runs across the court like quickly because he's also like short. So he doesn't have like a confidence, right? Like he runs everywhere. And then he
Yeah.
goes, this is half the distance of the actual crime. So how many fingers am I holding?
Was this like the first courtroom comedy? I don't think there was anything before this. If it was, then I think it deserves the status of a cult classic, right? The
I
first,
guess.
because there have been so many courtroom comedies after that.
Yes. Yes.
Especially like I think like in Indian cinema at least, like there have been so many these days, like the Jolly LLBs and all that. It should. I think every courtroom comedy is taking notes from My Cousin Vinny.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you think about what was it? What was it called? Oh my god.
Yeah, and see that
Oh my god. Jolly LLB.
Jolly LLB.
Uh, good ones.
Again, Jolly LLB had a judge very similar to the one in My Cousin Vinny, where he's like He's very lenient.
Yeah.
He understands everything. For him, like uh, he doesn't put anything above the law, but he also knows when things need to be lenient.
Um, I like the part in, I think it's Oh My God 2.
Oh, you've seen the movie? I haven't
uh,
seen it. I've
where
heard like the censor board is like butchered it, so I didn't watch
isn't that one with isn't the latest one Oh My God 3? Or am I wrong?
it. No.
Okay,
Are
okay.
you
So
talking about Jolly LLB too?
I'm talking about Jolly LLB 2 then. You're right. I'm talking about the one where Akshay Kumar and Huma Qureshi are
That's
the
Jolly LLB.
Okay, so Jolly LLB 2, I've seen Jolly LLB 1 also. In Jolly LLB 2, um, the judge has like this neat detail that before the court is in session, he'll sit down and he'll take like his glass of water and he'll offer some to the plant on his desk. And then he starts it. And you get to see in like 5 seconds that this is a man that is caring. Like he isn't just here to like do his job. Like he actually cares about the outcome of something. Like it's a neat little detail that's in there, but it's there. And you see like like when you enter the room of the judge in My Cousin Vinny, and you see how everything's like very organized and very uh there is a order to it. Quite literally there's an order to it. So you don't realize in that moment till he says it, just because you're from New York, that he has insecurities himself, that he's
Yeah.
not a victim. And those little details that you slip in about the character that the movie is not about is so good. It's so good. The small little details. Like,
That explains the part where like he's believing everything that Vinny's telling him.
yes,
That insecurity is coming
yes,
to this thing in this.
yes. And then when you see Vinny and his fiance, I forget her name in this movie. Uh,
Yeah, even I forgot.
she
Let's
has
call her Miss Tomei. I
she
fell I fell like I already was in love with her when she played May, but I was like, what? Who is this? Kaun hai ye?
Mona Lisa Vito.
Oh,
She's Mona Lisa in this.
oh, is
So
that a
yes,
nod to Vita Corleone?
could be. It could be because his name is Vinny Gambini. Like he's a magician, like Houdini.
Hmm.
But she has like um her demeanor is of a person who is very feminine, but she grew up around cars and understanding cars and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And you see how she switches in and out of that personality as and when she likes. So when
Hmm.
she's sleeping, Joe Pesci holds her, but that's when like she retires one version of herself. But when she's awake and he is like stressed out, she holds him, like she comforts him. The switch happens so beautifully. You don't even realize it till you watch it a couple of times. That she's actually calling the shots of the entire thing without Vinny actually realizing till the end when he begs her to be the witness, like please, 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 Mona, please. And the
Oh,
fact,
that scene got her the Oscar. Like, that whole thing that she did. It's like it. You can see just by looking at her, like she's not. Uh, if you look at her, you wouldn't see anyone who's expert at anything. Like she doesn't show off that much. She's way more intelligent than Vinny. She knows about so many things more than Vinny, but she doesn't show it. That's why the lawyer, also the defendant, no, the prosecutor, he also doesn't think of her as someone who would know about automobiles, right?
yeah,
So he underestimates
he underestimates her, and he also dismisses her a lot, even when she's trying to make a point.
her.
And
Yeah.
she, I think she snaps in the last part when he publicly humiliates her. And that's when she snaps. Like everything is fine for her behind closed doors, but when he publicly humiliates her, then she snaps, and then she kind of like, you know what, I'm done. Like I don't want to deal with it. And the I love the setup of her. Like her pride doesn't come from her knowledge or anything. Her pride comes from the way
Ah,
she's treated.
yeah.
Um, and the way, like even the judge, like when he like does this and he's like listening to her, and and then you see like as she's like understanding where Vinny's going with cracking the case, she starts looking at the judge and like talking to him because now she has come into her element again. That her pride doesn't come from the fact that she knows those things. Her pride comes from the way her knowledge is perceived. So if her
Hmm.
knowledge is perceived just because she grew up around her brothers, that upsets her. But if her knowledge is perceived as an actual observation which is helpful, then it makes her feel good about herself. Like
Hmm.
the it's so beautiful that they put those little details in a time, when nobody like like there is this there was this discussion that happened that a lot of the time, when people were like doing false girl power stuff, like where they switch out one of the male characters to the female character, and that's the end of the trail. Like that's the only thing that is different about.
Women written by men.
Yes, yes. And then you see my cousin Vinny in a time where, you see a lot of misogyny of Vinny throughout the movie, where he gets upset with her about stuff which is really not her fault. And in the part where he's like begging her and he's like, like asking her, like, I'm so sorry, like, please, you have to help me. And he like literally drags her into the court like she's a criminal. And she refuses like to answer him. And she's not angry at him. She's angry at the way he has been dismissive of her. And that's
Yeah.
the beauty of that scene where she's just like looking away whenever he's like asking, and the judge is like thinking twice before saying that no, you have to answer the lawyer's question. Like he's also like taking his time, saying, does Vinny really deserve like a non-hostile witness? And
Because
that's
he is thinking of within that this thing only. He never takes her advice. He never thinks of getting what do you call, a third eye to it, like
yeah,
a different perspective. He doesn't think of that,
no,
and over that he snaps at her. So
yeah. So, one thing, okay, name the stuff that you absolutely did not see coming in the movie.
uh I don't know. It's not like a. This is why I say like it's not like a spoilery movie because you obviously know that they're gonna
Yeah,
get saved at
yeah,
the end. But in the whole movie I was trying to figure out what will crack the case for him,
yeah,
and I could not. Like I did not see all that,
right.
the tire marks, because we see the images before us, right?
Yes, yes.
I did not, but I know that you're very good at
I saw it
seeing.
after the fourth time, then I started paying more attention, but I did not pay attention to the pictures the first time, not really.
Okay, maybe because you were younger. Now you're anyway.
No, I mean, because my brain wouldn't go there, not really. Why would it go there? I would just presume that a bunch of people, okay, this is the thing about cars for me.
So
I don't know models. I know, oh, that's a red car, that's a
mhm.
black car, that's a big
No,
car.
no, but like they show us the images and not the model part, but like it's somewhat there for us. Like they're
Yeah,
saying that it's a different tire mark, and when Vinny notices it, at that time something switches in him, right? He
yeah.
quickly comes back to the court and he tells the police to find out something. So at that point, we should have like connected the dots, but still, I wasn't able to. I think like this is what movies do, right? Like they foreshadow things, but they only do that and complicate things more for us. And so that like when the final reveal happens, it feels very intellectually validating for us.
The movie in itself is perfect because it has the perfect amount of comedy and justification of events for it to make enough sense for you to like go along with the storyline. They have not really blurred reality that much. They have shown how things happen in the
Mhm.
courtroom. Uh, like the Legally Blonde moments and the
Yeah, yeah.
suits moments that you've seen.
So it makes sense in that world.
Yeah,
It it doesn't overdo it.
no, it doesn't overdo it in any way whatsoever. And for me, the thing that I did not see coming is when they were sleeping in the car and they lost the, not lost it, but they basically muddied his good suit, the one that the judge approved of. They had to go to the thrift store and he wore like a bandmaster's purple suit.
Yeah.
He looked like a bullfighter. And the judge is like, what is the meaning of this? Are you like not trying to take the court seriously? And he looks at him and he goes, I'm wearing this out of respect for you. I have one leather jacket which you did not approve of, and then my other good suit fell in the mud because I got stuck on the way from to court. This is the only thing I could find and afford at the thrift store. And you see, like the judge, kind of going, oh, I appreciate that. Like, I don't appreciate this, but I appreciate that you're trying so hard. And I think that's the movie where everybody's like making Vinny prove to them that he's taking them seriously. And and Vinny in one way or the other is failing at that. It is so well written. Like I have not seen dialogues more crisp, more to the point. Because you can go roundabout ways when it's a comedy, and because it's supposed to be fun and funny, and
Hmm.
like the part where Winnie and Mona like kiss for the first time, they have a fight. They are yelling at each other before they start kissing on screen. So the movie is very true to the character of the
Hmm.
of each of the actors. It actually cares about that. It doesn't just throw in stuff for the sake of it. And Vinny is not just, like this bumbling lawyer. He actually wants to do good by his cousin.
Hmm.
So when the friend says, I'm getting my own lawyer, like I don't want to deal with this or whatever. And you see like the lawyer just being not at all passionate about the movie. But in the same scene, Vinny's like falling asleep. I love that. I just love it. I love it so much. And
I
it's so
want to.
easy to judge if you don't
Hmm.
know what's happening. That's the movie, right? It's so
Hmm.
easy to judge. Sorry, you were
I
saying.
want everyone to comment on Joe Pesci playing characters like this because, like I said, I only know these two types of Joe Pesci.
Huh.
I want to discover everything that he's done. So
Yeah.
he's
And he's
so
done
good.
a lot.
I he didn't get nominated or anything. Even the movie didn't get nominated for anything. Marisa Tomei.
Miss Marisa winning was the movie winning, because the
Hmm.
Oscars are too snobbish to
Yeah,
admit
yeah,
that
yeah.
it's a good film, right?
Oscars are still too snobbish to nominate something like My Cousin.
To nominate something like what?
To nominate like they're still too snobbish to nominate something like My Cousin.
Oh yeah,
Even now
absolutely.
they, even if you think like they've changed after making Everything Everywhere win, no, Everything Everywhere won because it's probably the most quirkiest thing that they've ever seen. But
So
if
because it
they
was
have
made
been
in America.
okay, okay,
You know it's true. You know it's
40
true.
more minutes of that conversation it'll happen, so we'll have to wrap. I'm
It's
saying
just
like
that.
as a proper comedy they will never nominate.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go.
I mean, yes, you're 100% right about that. When you think about Parasite, you think about like Bong Joon-ho's Parasite. The reason it got its recognition is because they bent the genre enough for it to make
Hmm.
sense to
Yes, that's why like what's Bong Joon-ho's quirkiest movie, like what, The Host?
both.
I don't see The Host being nominated in this thing, or Okja being nominated.
Okja's
In,
quirky, won't be normal. And Okja had,
yeah.
like Tilda Swinton. And
Mm. So
so, yeah.
Bong Joon-ho, even like while he
Prove
was
yourself.
doing the Oscar campaign, he mentioned like the Oscars are they're too local. Even though they are making us win, they're too
Yeah.
local. They will
They're too
not
low.
understand.
Yeah. What about Snowpiercer? When Chris Evans, that
Hmm.
scene, like it haunts me even today when Chris Evans like admits what actually happens on that train, and he starts
Hmm.
sobbing when he finally admits like what people have succumbed to in that train to survive. Uh, it is an Oscar, forget Oscar, it is a swoon-worthy scene. The way they have written that scene, but Bong Joon-ho has not gotten his due credit for a while. That's the thing. And I have the same argument about A.R. Rahman. He's been making amazing music for God knows how long. Yesterday, uh, I mean, this is in like in a place that is not in India. There was this man that I um, saw, on the street. He was playing the saxophone, and he was playing A.R. Rahman's "Kehna Kya" and "Chaya Chaya" and Dil Se's song "Diya Jale Ja Jale," and those are the songs that make A.R. Rahman a god. It's not Jai Ho that makes him a god. It really isn't. He has been making great music for so long. No one has ventured into that.
Hmm. He only
But
won because it was a British production.
it was a
He only won because it was a British production.
yeah. So uh, y- I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
then with like if, by that logic, like even Martin Scorsese's best movie is not The Departed, right? Like
Yes.
they gave him because he made like 20 different great movies.
So
It was like, huh,
it is snobbish, yes. Is it local? Absolutely. I think that's a better word than snobbish. It is very, but it's the way they've marketed the Oscars that makes it seem like it is about world cinema when it really isn't.
yeah,
Um,
like
it
they are trying to branch out now. They are inviting more and more international members. But
yeah,
then again, like
it's
last year, Coda won. Last year, Coda won, which is like so Oscar baity. It is a good movie, but it's still Oscar baity.
a
Nomadland, it's
copy
still
of
Oscar baity.
Khamoshi.
Huh?
Isn't it a copy of Khamoshi?
Kamoshi was a copy of a French,
Okay, so isn't it a
which
copy of a French movie?
yeah, it's adapted. But
I'm
yeah,
just
that's what I'm saying. It's still Oscar baity. Like even after increasing their numbers, they still award. Coda was not the best movie of that.
wait. You are the resident Oscars expert. What happened to Roma in the Oscars?
Again, the same thing. That's that year Roma didn't win. Everything else it won before that, and then Green. What's that movie's name? Green something, right? With Marshall Ali and Viggo Mortensen.
Okay, okay,
Green.
about a white man driving around a black man. That was the
Yeah.
story.
What was it
Yeah.
called? The Green something. It was called
Uh,
Green.
the only word coming to me is Green Lantern right now for some reason.
I'm thinking of Green Mile.
Uh,
This is also about a white guy.
yeah, yeah. But I don't know. For me, I think
Huh.
the
So
setup
that
of
year,
yeah. Go ahead.
I'm saying that year, everybody got pissed off that Roma didn't win, and the following year they gave Parasite an Oscar. Like, no, 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 this is us apologize. Now take
Interesting.
your Oscar and don't blame us for
And don't
Roma.
complain. Um, what about Bakurao? What happened to Bakurao in the Oscars?
Bakurao didn't even win. I don't think it even got nominated. No, so with international Oscars, it's a bit twisty, right? Like the country has to send that movie. Like this year, uh, India did not send RRR. India sent some Gujarati. Yeah, it did not send RRR. Remember? RRR got nominated because it ran for a month or a week in some theater in America, in theaters in America. That's how it got eligible for the other Oscars. The international feature for
RRR
movies
was
to get
not
nominated.
sent to the movies.
Yeah, it wasn't the official Indian selection for this. It was some other movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it did not get nominated, right? What one international feature was won by All Quiet on the Western Front this year.
No, I don't follow the Oscars the way you have, right? Like you know the years and the to the last detail of who won screenplay, like and stuff like that. I don't follow it that way. I stopped following it that way after the kind of movies
Speaking
I
of,
did. Yeah,
sorry. Speaking of screenplay, this year there was a movie that won adapted screenplay. Please watch that movie. It's called Women Talking.
I've seen it.
Okay,
It's
you've
good.
seen it? Oh, we have to do it
Good.
sometime
Okay,
later. It's
so
very hard. It's a very hard movie, but
but it's fine.
so I'll just give a brief for the ones who are watching this. So it's about this group of women who live in a village. I don't know if it's real or it's fiction. I've heard that it's borrowed from a real story or something like that.
Yeah,
It's very loosely based on something.
yeah.
So they live in a village and they find out that the men in the neighboring part of the village
Hmm.
or the ones that they're living with, no, they live in some other part of the village. In that village, it's a very orthodox Catholic village or Christian village or something. So the men don't live with the women. Okay. And the men at night, when uh, when there's no light, it's I don't think it's uh, I don't really know the timeline, but the village does not have light at night. Okay, so the men actually, a group of men just come to the village and they molest the women, they rape women, and this has been going for a lot of a lot of time, like days, months, years, we don't know about. So at one point, the women decide to take action against it, and the men give them the choice, like either leave or stay, and we will make sure that something like this will not happen. So it's up to the women to decide what they want to do. They are obviously they don't trust the men. Some don't trust, some trust, and some women are thinking about leaving altogether. So the whole movie is about them just talking about
Figuring it out.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, and the dynamics between them, what they think. Francis and the cast has Francis McDormand, Rooney Mara, uh, Claire Foy, so many. I forget a lot. It's a beautiful movie. It won the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. I think it's on
Deserved.
Prime now.
It deserved.
Yeah,
It was good. It deserved. I'm not saying it deserved the Oscar, or whatever, but it does deserve recognition.
yeah.
Uh,
Wait,
there are a lot of
nobody deserved the Oscar
yeah.
this year except for Everything Everywhere.
Uh, no, I'm saying I don't
Yeah,
think the
yeah.
Oscar can be the standard anymore because
Hmm.
honestly, there's a lot of stuff, and this is see, you can't even blame the Oscars at one point. There is so much going on. There has been so much going on for God knows how long, and so many stories from so many different cultures, so many different viewpoints, so many different perspectives from all over the world. It is very hard for it to be, um, you know, accumulated and reviewed in one award show, which is why I keep
Hmm.
saying, please subscribe to Cremechis because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring
Yes.
to light the the
Tell
stories,
me any one movie industry that you have favored,
not really
unlike the Oscars.
like the Oscars, unlike any award show, because it's hard. It's hard to be the. It's hard to be as I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back or anything, but I'm trying to say that when you're an audience watching cinema, who craves to see a new story, who craves entertainment, uh, we are Sank and I are kids who, beg our, the stories where you beg your parents to read your new bedtime story. We are those kids. We want a new story so that we sleep better that day or we have a good week or perhaps we sometimes watch movies that leave us traumatized for weeks and that's why we end up watching My Cousin Vinny. So I the way we consume cinema as an audience, and I say this of anybody who watches cinema not for critiquing it or not for oh, this is how the movie making process is like la la la. No, when you watch it with the thing of this movie made me feel a particular way that will stay with me. or this movie was memorable, or this movie made me laugh, this movie got me through something. Like if you watch cinema in that way, then you cover more stories. Versus Oscars tends to have a bit of an agenda that they stick by, which is fine because they have their white guilt and it is what it is. But it's not fine, but you know what I mean. It's an agenda that they're sticking by. We don't have an agenda, not really. We are literally trying to find as much diverse films. And we're also nowadays surprising each other with the stuff we have watched, perhaps in different timelines, but we have watched it. And between the
Yes.
two of us, right? Like
I really want to thank you for recommending My
my
Cousin
cousin.
Vinny.
I know. It's just the reason this movie is so special to both him and me is because we have watched, I think, legal dramas, or in general, like something which is supposed to be like revolving around murder or crime. Like when you watch True Detective, the way you start perceiving crime shows changes. You will never watch it the same again. You will think about the nuances of detectives who are like trying to sniff out clues and what actually happens and what goes down. When you see something so great, it impacts every other movie that you see in that genre after that. Same goes for My Cousin Vinny. When you see something that was made so long ago, in a time where this kind of dialogue writing and screenplay writing did not exist, the way you watch other cinema changes. And I'm not saying you like, oh, everything else sucks now because of this movie. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when two people can surprise each other, imagine how much we can surprise. So, uh, please subscribe, please like, please share, please, um, you know, give us your comments. We've been getting some, really encouraging comments. We are really thankful for that. It really helps the channel a lot because we can understand where to go with this, because we will continue to post the movies that we like. We are not trying to cater to the people who are watching to us in that way. We will tell you about, this is like a movie journal. Like, oh, today I watched this movie and this movie made me feel so and so. So you have nothing to lose if you subscribe to us. We are not going to force a point of view down your throat. We're just saying, this is a good platform to just have a good time and watch good movies. That's all it is. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, Sam, what do you say about that? How do you feel about that? Because you've been doing some really interesting niche cinema for like months now, and you have such good taste, and I'm always surprised by the stuff you recommend to me.
It's only niche because it's only niche till people watch it and then they
Yeah.
find out and then they ask the question, why is this niche? What is this supposed to
Um, but
be?
yeah,
Okay.
we love you
I'm
guys.
just sick and tired of no, I was
No,
trying to
no,
do
no, no. That
no, I was just trying to do
no. Even though
Italian.
none of these videos are not made for kids, just no. Like don't go there.
Hey,
Um,
was Janice from Friends Italian? When she
yeah,
says fuck one.
yeah.
Yes. Yes, okay.
Of course. You seek out. You seek me out. You call me out like a foghorn. Yeah, that is totally.
Yes. Okay.
Even the way she says socks,
Mm.
when she gets the Bullwinkle sock.
15 Yemen Road, Yemen.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Oh, I love her so much. Anyway, we love you guys a lot. We will see you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in, listening to us week after week. Um, don't mind the schedule. We're doing the best we can. And if you're not posting, it's because we're watching awesome movies. If you think there's a better way for us to reach out to you, do let us know. We do have an Instagram page, where we post, and if we get some traction on there, we could like post, the movie names and stuff like that sooner, so you know what's going on. You could see a schedule, which would be fun. And if there's anything else, do let us know. We love you so much. Bye.
Tell Marisa Tomei I love her.
Okay. Marisa, we love you.